Do you want a central place for all the information about how your company uses the Power Platform, what policies are there, and how your makers can learn more? Manuela Pichler is here to tell you how you can use a pre-built communication site template to do all that in this episode of Low Code Revolution. Hey everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Low Code Revolution. I am your new host, Daniel Laskowitz, and I work as a Power Platform advocate at Microsoft. I will be hosting Low Code Revolution with April Dunham from now on. Today, Manuela Pichler joins us to show us a new template which you can use to deploy a SharePoint site for your own Power Platform community. Welcome, Manuela.
Hello, hi, thanks for having me.
Hi. Could you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm Manuela. I also work at Microsoft in a team called the Power Apps Customer Advisory Team. We work closely with customers to help them accelerate their Power Platform adoption.
Yeah, and that's of course also because the customers always have great communities with low-code developers, also pro-code developers, and the community side, communication side is of course something that fits right in there, right?
Yeah, that's right. We have a lot of customers who have best practices and guidelines that they want to share with their Power Platform makers, and a communication side is just the best place, like a good central place to share all of that information with the makers.
Yeah, and it's of course a part of a bigger picture. So I think you have some slides to show that.
Yeah, that's right. Typically, when customers start adopting the Power Platform, we see that they form a center of excellence to kind of drive productivity and maintain control. We see that as kind of a coordinating function that spans multiple teams and multiple functions and ensures that really the Power Platform strategy is deeply embedded into the digital transformation strategy of the company, and that Power Platform adoption is promoted whilst at the same time looking after security and governance. So we think of a center of excellence as kind of a central team made up of different functions. So some of the responsibilities of a center of excellence are, to secure the tenant, and that's kind of laying down security foundations, making sure that environments are set up and that there's no risk of data leakage. Obviously, kind of monitoring ongoing adoption, so really looking at how my makers using the platform, what are apps and flows being used for, and using that to refine the processes. Typically, app modernization is a part of a center of excellence strategy. So looking at legacy systems, paper forms that you have today, and modernizing them with the Power Platform. But what we'll talk about today is the fourth pillar there, which is nurture, a really big part of a center of excellence strategy, all to do with creating and fostering a community and sharing best practices with makers and end users.
Yeah, and that's already something that you have developed some other tools for as well, right? Not just the communication side template that we talk about today, but also other ones, right?
Yeah, so we have content available, and I think we'll share the links out on the last slide. Under adoption.microsoft.com, you'll find an adoption workbook, and that really is a planning document for you to plan your Power Platform adoption strategy. There's a lot of content and best practices in there on what to do first and next, how to assemble your team, how to deal with kind of resistance in the organization, how to come up with a training strategy, how to identify champions and what to do with them. And so, yeah, that's a kind of a PowerPoint workbook designed for you to plan your Power Platform adoption. And then we also have kind of the workbook is really around the what and why you're doing. And then we also develop a toolkit called the Center of Excellence Starter Kit. And that really is to then how you're going to do it, kind of once you've established the rules and the best practices, implementing those, and especially kind of automating some of the tasks that a Power Platform admin and a Power Platform Center of Excellence would do. That's what the CV Starter Kit is for.
Yeah, that sounds like a real must-have for everybody. So, yeah, really good.
I would think so, but I own it, so. Yes, please install it.
Everybody do it now.
So yeah, like kind of going further into that nurture bucket that we're here to talk about today is really the effort is on change management and communication management, really focusing on kind of training, upskilling makers, raising awareness, providing kind of internal training events and workshops, creating a community that's thriving, enthusiastic, and excited about Power Platform adoption in your organization. Often a part of that is finding champions and making sure they are an integral part of your strategy, supporting them, sharing templates and reusable components, and sharing success stories. So, there's a maker in a department that's done a really good job, saved a lot of money, or, increased productivity for the organization, highlighting them on your intranet in the communication site template, to inspire other makers to kind of achieve the same. And we think that a vital part of all of these nurture strategies is to have a central place where you can share what's going on and communicate to your makers. So raising awareness and that communication is a really big part of your Center of Excellence strategy and your Power Platform adoption strategy all up.
Yeah, and is that something that you can easily do with all kinds of things like hackathons? I saw that on the slide, for instance, but doing hackathons, doing all kinds of office hours, etc. Is that something that you do a lot within the companies?
Yeah, what we've seen with a lot of our customers is that really kind of awareness matters, just making Power Platform available and having it turned on in the tenant won't lead to adoption and won't lead to kind of productive use cases and value creation. So it's really important that everyone understands why you're enabling Power Platform, what it's there for, what the use cases for it are, and make sure that everyone is on board with using the new technology and really understands how that can fit into their working life. So what we find often is you want to like spark that excitement and get kind of everyone on board, but also focus on the what's in it for me. Is it part of my career development? How can I make sure that it fits into my company and goals and the kind of the working culture that I'm part of? Like have an executive sponsor that maybe can do a kickoff event or have like a video message recorded to share that excitement with new makers. Hackathons, yeah, is a really great part of kind of getting everyone together in a room, working away on solutions that some of them may not make it to production, but everyone gets the opportunity to explore what the Power Platform is all about, kind of building apps and flows, and trying it out without feeling that kind of risk or pressure of failing there, or kind of there's like a ton of sessions that many of our customers organize, such as like internal kind of training events, going from like full day events to some of our customers run kind of week-long training events to upskill makers, to very short sessions like drop-in sessions for people to ask questions, or running a like lunch and learn session where people bring their sandwich and learn about Power Platform and just get that kind of initial exposure to that new technology.
It sounds really good. I also really like the whole show and tell story, of course, and that's something that probably is also hard for people to understand. Like, how do you get all those makers or those champions? How do you find those? Because that's always the hard part, of course. People can build lovely things, but how do you find them? Is that something where you can have a tip for?
Yeah, so very often kind of customers come to us and ask like, how do I identify like kind of the initial set of makers? And most often than not, you already know who they are. It's kind of the people that are like heavy Excel users, heavy Access users. They already have an interest in technology and in creating a better way for them to do their daily jobs. So those are kind of good candidates to upskill initially and kind of get their feedback on. But then after, obviously, kind of after you've rolled everything out, you should continue to monitor what's going on in your Power Platform tenant, and you can use the out-of-the-box admin analytics to see who your top makers are, and maybe reach out to them and see, what are you using the Power Platform for? Are you finding it useful? Do you need any help from like our central team? Is there more that we could do to support you? And through that, you will no doubt get like hundreds of ideas of how to better kind of form your Power Platform adoption strategy.
Okay, great.
So yeah, like we said, kind of at the beginning, all these ideas typically come together in being shared through a central place. So many of our customers have set up SharePoint team sites, communication sites to share success stories, to share their rules of engagement with the Power Platform, guidelines for makers, kind of have a one-stop shop for makers to find out everything they need to know to get started with Power Platform in their organization. And we've seen, I guess, in the work that my team does, we've worked with a lot of customers who've kind of started from scratch and built out these SharePoint wikis and team sites. And through that, we've learned a lot of lessons that we've now incorporated into a template that you can install to get started with that, with creating that central place. So we're really excited to have that communication site template available now. It provides you with a starting point of everything that we've learned customers typically have available in those central sites. It comes with a lot of kind of content that you can tailor to your organization, but also a lot of page templates on kind of how to share a success story, how to announce a champion of the week, how to announce a hackathon. So you've got templates for all of that you can use.
Yeah, this sounds really helpful because a lot of customers probably already created their own central place, of course. And there's also a lot of companies that haven't yet. So I think that they would love to have like a template where they don't have to do all the heavy lifting. They can just use a starting point and go from there. So great.
Yeah, and I think even with customers that already have a template established, this is a good kind of reference implementation. I think like we often get questions of like, oh, what else should we put in the wiki? What are your suggestions? And now we can kind of point them to that site template. And even if you already have kind of documentation in place, you can, install it and learn from it and maybe reuse certain parts of it that you don't yet have. So it's a really good kind of like reference implementation as well.
Yeah, totally agree.
Should we take a look at it?
Yeah, I would love to see it.
There we go. So once you've deployed the Power Platform SharePoint communication site template, this is the page that you'll end up with. It comes with kind of a ton of like navigation content. The idea is that you add your own web parts to it. So if you have a community in Yammer, you can embed the Yammer web part here to tie that into the site. Comes with some sample content on, like, for example, a success story, and you can learn from how success stories are shared and use that template to share your own success stories. In the same way, we've got some sample content on how to talk about your environment strategy. So this should give you ideas of what makers typically want to know about as they're starting to use Power Platform. And there's some placeholders in there for you to kind of add your own content that's called out in the bold instructions there, where you need to kind of update that with things that are maybe specific to your tenant. But hopefully this is kind of a starting point of how to share information with makers. And as you can see, kind of a good ton of content there regarding guided learning. We're integrating that with our Microsoft Learn Pass. So you've immediately got a starting point for helping makers get started with Power Platform, and they can consume the learning content that's available from Microsoft, or sign up to one of our Microsoft partner hosted in-a-day workshops through the link there. And then if you have internal training events, you can add the link here as well. So you've got kind of tons of room to make this template your own, but also there's tons of content in there already for you to get started with.
This is really nice. Also, the way that you can just put your own internal training events in there. That's really nice to have that possibility there.
Yeah, we've got two internal event templates. One is hackathons, which we see customers kind of host very regularly. So we've created a landing page for hackathons, and like upcoming hackathons you can share as an event, and they've got a really nice template there with kind of a countdown, the purpose of the hackathon, what the challenges are, the teams that are involved, and how to register for the event as well. And then the other event is office hours, which is something that typically customers host kind of on a monthly basis, where people just dial in and ask questions about Power Platform. So you've got the landing page here as well, and you can create your own office hours there to let makers dial in and join those.
Yeah, and I saw tons of things in there as well, like best practices on environments and all those kinds of things. It's really good to see those in there as well, like yeah, DLP, what you just are showing now. That's
Yeah.
also something that a lot of people they would love to see all the best practices there, and I think it's really good that there is a big starting point where they can start from.
Yeah, I think the template, I would say, is a really good mix of like content. So the DLP policy page, for example, it outlays what we see as best practices for establishing data loss prevention policies. But then it's obviously also like you can learn kind of from that on how you can establish your DLP policies, but also how you talk to your makers about them. And then the other part of obviously is the page templates for you to create kind of new content. So here you can see all the page templates that the template comes with. So for like sharing kind of a champion story, a hackathon, a news story, or a success story, and you can select that template here, and then go from there and create a champion story based on our template. So you don't have to, I guess, put too much thought into what do I talk about when I talk about a champion story, because all of the bullet points and all of the like talking points are part of the template, and you just fill in the blanks, I guess, about your very specific champion.
Yeah, it's really nice to see that you can just replace something in there and just add the text there. But I also saw, if you scroll down a little bit, there's also other champions already there. So I saw, yeah, champions of the week. So if you click on one of those, then there's also like example content, right?
Yeah, that's right. We thought we'd give you, as you deploy the template, we thought we would give you an idea of what that page could look like once every part of it is used. So we created kind of two champion stories that you can learn from, and you can kind of see what we would typically share about a champion there. So you can learn from that as well. And then yeah, as you kind of launch your page into production, you would probably delete our sample templates, but add your own stories in there. And it doesn't have to be like champion of the week. Maybe you have a champion of the month or a champion of the quarter. But these are just kind of ideas to help get you started.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah. One other question. I see at the top that there's Power Platform at Contoso.
Mhm.
So I think that you can also use your own name there, or
Yeah, so when you set up the template, you provide us with your company name, and then everywhere that Contoso is used on the page, it's actually replaced with your company name. So there's no additional work for you to make the template like your company specific. Like all of the Contoso and test content there is already replaced with the name that you provide us with.
oh, nice. And of course, I can also change the Power Platform logo, for instance, at the top left.
Yeah.
If I want to change that to my own logo, I can do that as well.
Yeah, or if you want to change the branding, like the colors, etc. Kind of a lot of companies have their own SharePoint
Yeah.
theme that they use for their intranet. You can apply that to this site, similar to how you would to other sites.
Okay, that's really cool. Yeah. So
Yeah.
thanks for the demo.
No, of
Um,
course. Yeah. Hopefully, it is a useful tool as you embark on your Power Platform adoption, or as you continue it.
yeah, I'm sure it is.
Additional to as you said, the communication side template is a really small part of an overall Power Platform adoption strategy, and we have many tools available here to help you. So aka.ms/PowerUp is a new initiative for helping with the upskilling and learning of makers. So really good to check that out. Under adoption.microsoft.com/Power Platform, you'll find all of the content related to Power Platform adoption, like the adoption workbook, the hackathon workbook, a maturity model, so you can kind of see how to start with your adoption and what to do next in kind of as you grow your adoption. Very prescriptive guidance there. And then the Center of Excellence Starter Kit under aka.ms/COE Starter Kit is a tooling approach to help with establishing your Center of Excellence, and can really help kind of take away some of that manual burden that you may have by automating some frequent tasks and giving you better insights into your adoption.
Yeah, it sounds like you have done a lot of work on this whole, the Center of Excellence Starter Kit, but also the adoption side, and now also the communication side template. So really, really, really well done.
Oh, it's all a team
I think
effort.
that, yeah, but it's still a lot of work. I'm sure that there have been months of work in there. So yeah, thanks a lot for that. Yeah, if they want to download the site, the template, you already had the link for that, right? So
Yeah.
that's aka.ms/
ppcst/docs.
Okay,
/docs.
great. Yeah. Okay, great. So that's where you can download it, and make sure to install it on your own on your own environment. Take a look at it and customize it wherever you want to go. Sorry?
And give us feedback.
Yeah, give us feedback. If you run into issues, you can always file an issue. That's also in the documentation. So make sure to do that as well. Manuela, thank you for being on the show. It's been a great pleasure to have you here. And thanks for all the work that you've done for the Power Platform. Yeah, to our listeners and viewers, thanks for watching. And I hope to see you at the next episode. Bye-bye.